Welcome back. I'm Broward County Commissioner Stacy Ritter here at the Tamarac Cafe and Diner. You can reach me on Facebook under my name, Stacy Ritter, or Twitter. My Twitter name is @StacyRitter, and of course you can always reach me at sritter@broward.org, which is my email address, in the Broward County Governmental Center. We are here this morning with Broward County Property Appraiser Parrish. We've got this first segment sort of talking about how many properties there are, and let me ask you this: is there every time the property, we get our property appraised, it comes from your office. How do you determine, it's either up or down, whatever, how do you determine?
Well, we don't. You do it for us. What happens is, by state law, in the market approach to value, Florida law requires all of our assessments are year in arrears. So when you get your 2001 assessment, it actually reflects your market from January 2nd, 2010 to January 1st, 2011. And we tend to look, at the last quarter to be more accurate, because used to it was the sky was the limit, but we try and be as fair to the property owner as possible. So we look at the sales in your neighborhood and say you live in a 4 home and I live in a 3-2 home, and you have a pool and I don't. Well, your assessment would probably be about 15 to 20,000 more for your pool, and then your additional square footage. We don't go in houses. We're only looking at the perimeter.
Right.
And if you have fancy marble or Italian tile and I have shag carpet, we don't know that. We think all of those things come out in the sale of your home.
Right. So the actual appraised value is more or less the land and the structure, but not what's in the size
Correct.
of the structure.
We're not allowed by law. We're taxing the land and the improvements on it. But like your ceiling fans, your appliances, you have a Bosch, all that is not, it's not the value of an improvement. And then it's always a year in arrears, and our assessments, because we do sales verification to determine how much, what was the percentage for closing costs in a real estate lawyer and real estate fees, and we take that out. So on average, we're about 88% of the market value of your property a year in arrears.
Okay, and let's talk a little bit about what the office was like when you got there in 2006. I've heard Lori talk around the community about what the office was like when she took it over in early 2007, I guess.
No, 2005, January.
I'm sorry, you were elected
January 4th, 2005.
Just some of the more outrageous things that you found in that office.
Copy paper. I mean, the carbon paper. Remember when you had the old manual typewriters?
Yeah, and you
would have a sheet of, not the one with the yellow back for copy, but the old-fashioned carbon paper. You would put them in and type. I haven't seen that since high school. I'll be 64. Every property in Broward County, remember this is 2005, we were in the 21st century, was on an oversized index card. And for every year, if you made any changes, they would use a different color pencil to indicate the year. Well, that would be great, but you had to remember which color they used which year, and going back, we're 100 years old, think about that. And then, what happened if they used red in 1971? It fades to pink. I mean, it was exasperating. But what I did was I bought thanks to the commission was, generous to let me move some of my money around, because they had no people. They had all consultants. They had very few employees. So I got rid of the consultants, hired employees, spent $125 an employee, and bought scanners for the desk. And if we have this piece of paper, we don't keep it. We got permission from the state. We scan it in. It's all on computer.
Can I get in the picture too? A good-looking guy like me? No, it's a video. No. Then you don't want to hear my accent from Brooklyn.
This is fun. Anyway, so we scanned all those old records in, and it's funny because building departments and code enforcement officers and homeowners, I just had a gentleman from Pompano write me and say, Pompano says, I just bought this home in July. Pompano says, I don't have a permit for the family room porch on the back, and they don't have any record of it. They said, maybe if I wrote you, you could find it, and I did.
Wow.
Because it was written on the back, I said, and I
So
pasted.
you had to scan every piece of paper that you found, the relevant information.
All of them. Oh, and then we had, the former property appraiser's family took all of the records out of the office. We had no personnel files. I had to file a motion to compel to go get 90 boxes to even get records, and then every office was locked. Every door was locked, every file cabinet was locked. Well, I learned in the private sector when people do that, it's not such important information. They're hiding what they haven't done. So I said to Ron Cacciatore, who I was bringing in as Director of Professional Standards and Compliance, if you find a door locked in this office, including mine, you get a screwdriver and you take the doors off. I tried to take every door in the office. I asked for every key to a file. We jimmied them so that nothing could be locked. And that office became transparent. Then what they didn't understand, nobody was cross-trained. I mean, I can take your homestead. In fact, I did take yours. Russ came in, I took your home, you know. I mean, all of us can do everything.
But that was not special treatment. Roy will do that for anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They used to say...
Please, I'll get
Oh, no.
comments.
No, when you're in line, I take it. Although most of... Now that you do your homestead online...
Right.
And
Well, that's something else. That's something you could not do before you got there.
Oh, right. But what happens is, in fact, Ron Dunsberger laughs that used to have people say that the former property appraiser took their homestead, they would all laugh. Now they know it's possibly true. I mean, if someone
The
was
office
sitting here...
has it's light years ahead.
Well, all of my audits are online. All of, everything. All our budgets, everything.
There's nobody who knows how to run an office like you do. You run an amazing office. You do, and I know that we at the County Commission recognize it.
And see, and I believe, like, with the County Commission having to request them, I can remember being on your side, and a former sheriff wouldn't turn over records, and you're giving taxpayer money, and you want to be accountable.
Right.
I had to come to all of you and said, will you send your auditor in? I think I've got a mess. Help me out.
You're the only one. There aren't too many that who ask to be audited.
Well, but see, our staff was always paranoid too. And from the private sector, I said, do you understand this is pro bono help? You're getting free help because don't you want to know if we're making mistakes? And they say, do we? I said, sure. How will we fix them? So, but we like audits. We like the state audit. We like everybody because that gives us a check on how we're doing and
make sure that you're spending your taxpayer dollars.
Well, and also to make sure everything we're doing is correct.
Right.
We're audited now. You have us audited by, your outside auditor, an independent auditors. The state audits us every other year. And then DOR constantly watches our transaction. And then what we have is like all of our employees are audited internally by our top staff, so that,
I don't think that anybody.
I don't change my assessment or
about
anything.
what goes on in your office.
But I mean,
and they should.
Well, but what our employees, and I have the best. I have the best group of people to work with you can imagine. I mean, once I taught them that those people who come in with problems are our bread and butter. That when people are out of work or struggling, they pay taxes, which in turn pay our salaries, and they're signing our paychecks. So you treat every person who comes in here as if he or she signs your paycheck. They're the most complimented group of people.
That's not how it always is in government.
I want to talk sometime off the record about a few of your departments. I'll discuss with you. Because I remember being a county commissioner thinking it worked like this.
Right.
You got on the other side, but it's not always.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about schools, about some Broward County.
Hi, how are you?
Right back.